feel like David Lee Roth in the Just a Gigolo video where they're like, he's passed out and the guy 10, 9, 8, and then Dave TV. And you can't miss this one, ladies and gentlemen. It's a captivating video all here on Dave TV. I feel like that right moment. Thank you, everybody. We are going to be filing in. This is an impromptu live, so I don't expect anybody to be waiting around to join. And I'm not going to wait around for you to get this party started right. Okay, this is purely a necessity at this point because, man, we got up early today and we did a little Costco shopping, and man, that is some crazy madhouse here out in Florida. And Jerry, what's happening? Woo, the room is filling up quick. Yes, indeed. What's up, Music Man? Ben, what's happening, brother? Yes, indeed. All right, we're getting this party going. Last minute impromptu live. We are glad to be here. I'll tell you what, we did our shopping trip this morning, and I told my wife, I'm going to go lay down for a minute. And I laid down and I laid down, and all of a sudden I woke up and it was 2 o'clock. And man, I think I laid down at like 11 o'clock or 11:30. Woo, I was fried, but I'm glad that so now, this is my first sip of caffeine today, and I'm gonna need this right now so I can join you. We're gonna have a good time today. We are 13 deep. Let's get the thumbs up. Chris, I am an extremely dedicated YouTuber, and I didn't comb the wig. This is just the natural beauty. This is just kind of how the wig lays. That's going to be my new radio. That's going to be my new show. Wig's looking good, bro. Dude, wig's looking good, bro. I can only imagine. And there were some guys I knew back in the Sunset Strip scene. There was one guy. He wore something on his head. Thank you, Lord. If you could see my haircut right now, you feel good about your own. Woo, I haven't had a haircut in many months. And let me tell you something. People, I guess I got a hairstyle that's of the past, right? I'm still shooting for the Jeff Beck. I'm still shooting for the, Ron Wood, Keith Richards. And, I have an excellent hairstylist in Nashville, in Hendersonville. But she is up there now, and I'm here. So the wig is dialed and styled, bro. I should do a whole series on how I style my wig. I think that would be an excellent, valuable talk we could all share in our wig maintenance. Mr. Bill, my bills are on. Dude, I'm missing all the football games. So anybody that's following the games, let me know. Let me know the score. If you see a score, a Titans score, or maybe a Tampa Bay Bucks, I know I should be following the Bucks, but wild-like is my style today. All right, CC. I'm going straight out the jug right now. I got this last little bit of tea. See, that's the beauty of YouTube and real TV, man. I'm just an old kid from Virginia. Titans 17, Bears 3. Wow. Hey, our family member just made it onto the roster for the Dolphins. Congratulations, CC. Let us know who that is. We'll cheer him on. Man, I'm telling you, I think I don't know how good the Bills are this year. But man, the Titans have certainly done a lot of change. David Coverdale and Tony Quintain must have bought hairspray by the case. You know it. You should do a short claiming you don't wear a wig, but being gentle, trying to prove it's not to make it seem like it really is, and draw in new viewers. That's ingenious. Yeah, or I could do a whole series styling my wig. And what I need to do is I need to get a, I bet you are, CC. That is amazing. I need to get a mannequin with a wig. I need to get like either a Photoshop guy to put my hair on a mannequin and then me with this bald head and the thing was styling my wig. You see now there's my April Fools for next year. So don't give it away. Try a man bun. Man, I don't have enough hair yet for a man bun. But if I don't find somebody in the area, do you dye it black? I have dyed it. I used to love to dye it jet black. And I haven't dyed it in a long time. So this is either what's left over of the color or kind of just, I've still got a lot of brown in there. But yeah, man, I always thought, when I figured out too late in my LA time to dye it all jet black. And, it looked pretty wild, doing that. So, man, here's the thing, dude. I never realized it was a wig. The partial gray sells it as real. I know. I can't, dude, you just never would guess that it's a wig. You just never would, man. It's just like the gray blended in is ingenious, the way they did that. Way that shop in China sewed those gray hairs in. You just never know. My hair is brown, but my beard and sideburns are gray. Dude, so look, we're musicians, man. And if you want to keep working, sometimes you got to play with young guys. Sometimes you got to play with old guys. And sometimes you get opportunities to go play gigs where you're playing in front of, keep it a little sloppy, exactly. So, color in the hair, dude, and people go, nice dye job. The hair shaves 10 years off your age. 58 is the new 48. I agree with you. Skullet, bro. Radio Chaos, to me, the skullet is the ultimate haircut. A little longer, it will be like Joe Stump's hair. If you don't know him, he's like a Malmsteen with a supercharger. Yeah, Joe Stump. He is great. He is great. Ooh. Ooh. Subdued woos. We're having subdued woos. We got a great group of people in here already. It's 24 of us. Let's get the thumbs up. Now this morning, if you guys watched the interview, if you have not watched that interview I did with Billy McCarthy, aka Billy Dior, it's a great interview. Look, Stump is in Alcatraz now. What? Oh, the band Alcatraz. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The best part of this show is the Eddie Van Halen photo. Well, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Of course. Now I need Dave, Diamond Dave on the other side. Sunday was made for subdued woos. Subdued, yeah. If you guys have not seen that interview that I did with Billy McCarthy, you got to check it out, man. It's really cool, dude. And man, that book, it's got, hey, Bad Brad, when you're on tour, do they take care of feeding you? You'll probably cover this, but I must have missed it. Jerry, I will get to that. Yeah, go watch the interview. That's all I'm going to say, dude. Look, in his book, and we didn't even get into it, but he hung out with David Lee Roth. He hung out with the guys from Motley Crue. I believe he hung out with one of the guys from Kix. Man, he just goes in, dude. I'm going to give, this is a tidbit for the guitar players out there. How many guys out there like Michael Schenker? And how many guys that are watching right now like Yngwie Malmsteen. If you can imagine Michael Schenker jamming with Yngwie Malmsteen, it's in the book. It's in the book. Beat Me Till I'm Famous. And if you go to the interview there and click on that, he's got that on sale for $15, paperback, thick book, lot of pages. Dude, like I said, I can't even, dude, Bill Aucoin. How many Kiss fans do we have on there? The guy was managed by Bill Aucoin, the manager for Kiss. You're getting so much in that book. I'm not going to give away anymore. Sorry, it was his wife. Hey, Brad, went for my first audition for a band. Hold on. Last week and got in. Keyboard plays a Hammond organ, all sorts of Deep Purple, etc. This channel gave me the inspiration to get up my arse and do it. Matthew, that's why I'm here, my friend. So Matthew was sitting around his room and, listening to my pep talks. And he said, man, I'm going to go do something. Man, dude, everybody give him a thumbs up. If you've got a thumbs up emojis or whatever, that is why I'm doing this channel for you guys out there. I'm not doing this for me because, man, let me tell you something. Saw a UFO with Schenker in 81. Let me tell you something. This is more work than I've ever done in my life as far as concentrated amounts of hours, whether it's answering comments. If you notice on my videos, I try to answer every comment unless it's just so ridiculous and I can't, which is usually 3 or 4 comments, or I just don't do politics. I don't do politics at all. Congrats to Matt. Congrats, dude. That is awesome. That is awesome. And CC, we always, CC is like, the little sister of the group here. Everybody takes care of CC. Have you played any gigs with a drummer who had a flaming gong? So when I had my band Stone Padre that put out an album, and we shot a couple music videos. You can go look up Stone Padre on YouTube, and there's music videos with me and the former drummer of Nickelback, and a great singer, and Paul Chapman, who's an amazing bass player, and I was putting together, like, look, guys, let's just go shoot Stone Temple Padres, exactly. We went to SIR to shoot these, and because the drummer had to fly in, and it was like, having a drum kit and all that. I said, hey, man, let's just go down to SIR and use the rental gear, and renting the room for a few hours and renting the gear. So we looked like we were ready to go right out on tour. And, renting a drum kit. And I said, how much is a gong? And he said, we can let you have the gong for, I don't know, $75. I go, dude, that's a bargain. We have to have the gong. So we didn't have a flaming gong, but we had a gong on set. So I'm all about flaming gongs and putting on a spectacle, man. That was, I ended up eating a lot of money funding that project. But that $75 for that gong, that was probably some of the greatest money I've spent in my life. Wake Up and Dance, yes. And there's another video called Taste, and that's all from that same session. And then I cut up the raw footage and created a third video, and I think that one's called Spy on You. So it was a lot of fun, and sometimes you gotta spend a little money to lose money. You know what I'm saying? So somebody just asked, Somebody just asked if we if we are on the road, if they fed you, and first of all, I got to get the wig. The wig is falling flat, bro. It's falling flat. You are basically, when you would get to the venue, if you're, say a mid-level band or lower level band, which essentially the last group I toured with was, like that mid-level, but you have one bus with, 13 guys on it and a driver, and you would get on the bus late at night, and the bus would always stop at a convenience store before, and everybody get some snacks, and everybody get on the bus, and kind of in their sweats and their t-shirts, like something you could sleep in, kind of like what I'm wearing now. And you'd have your snacks, and you'd sit there and watch TV till you got tired, and you went in your bunk, and then you'd sleep all night. When you get to the venue the next day, it'd say on the day sheet 12 o'clock lunch, and then it would be 1 o'clock load in, or maybe 11 o'clock lunch and 12 o'clock, just depending on, but usually it'd be kind of a consistent time every day, usually 12 noon. And so we would get there, and they would provide lunch. Now, sometimes it would be, something good, and sometimes it wouldn't be. And then there'd be other times where you'd get off, and it's 12 o'clock, and it's like, that's your breakfast, really. That would be your breakfast, because you'd never pull in somewhere and get breakfast. It would just be like kind of like a partier. That's like a partier's diet schedule, where you'd stay up all night, and then you'd have after show food after show, right? So then you'd go to sleep, and then you wouldn't have any food till noon. But yeah, the venue would provide something. Thank you, Tim. Great to have you here, sir. Oh, I gotta get this caffeine in me, man. I'm just waking up. But yeah, so if that for club gigs and theater gigs and stuff like that, they provide lunch. They would provide, Bud, what's happening? They would provide dinner, and and so that would be that case. If you're on the road with a big artist like Eric Church or Toby Keith or somebody like that, they would have their own travel with their own like semi, with their own like catering crew that would follow us from town to town, and those guys would get up at the crack of dawn, and you would be able to, at like 8 a.m., you'd be able to get up and have breakfast. So if you got up, if you were, didn't stay up all night, and you could get up and have some eggs, and they'd make you an omelet, and, and all this kind of stuff. So the bigger up you get up the food chain in the touring world, the better the food is. I remember one time going out with a country group, and they had every day, we did a tour of like the same club owned by the same guy, and each day it was the same Subway sandwich platter. And somebody says groupie stories. I look, man, if you want groupie stories, that's got to be super chat, and even then, it's going to have to be kind of I can't get into too many details. A gentleman never what do they say? Gentleman never tells, or something like that. But anyway, yeah, the higher you get up in the touring world, the better the food is. But that one time, man, it was every day. And it was the only meal we got every day was that Subway sandwich platter. And they would give you a per diem, $35. So you'd have money in your pocket. Man, after about 3 or 4 days, yeah, I'm a family man now. I can't, my wife understands what this channel is, and it's my past. But man, I take the same approach at, David Lee Roth's book. He'll tell you, oh yeah, it was it was everything you thought it was, but you can't, nobody wants to hear the excruciating, uh, you know, closed room details. Not on YouTube, you're not. Maybe Patreon. Maybe I need to start, tomorrow, start working on my Patreon page. And then I can tell the unfiltered truth about other people I know. He's married. Yeah. I mean, my wife doesn't want to hear that stuff. I don't want to hear her stuff. She had her own, life. So, it's, some things are better left, but there are some stories that are just absolutely hilarious, and I'll get to them. I'll get to them. So we got 51 people in here, but only 22 likes. So I tell you what. Woo! Troy, hey Brad, love your channel. I'm a 57-year-old retired rock drummer from Wisconsin. Love hearing the stories from the 80s and 90s. Thank you, sir. Man, I am so glad to have this great group of people that come into these chats. And are you planning online lessons? Certainly reach out to my email in the channel description. I gave a lesson last week. Had a guy hit me up, bass player that I know that had studied with Victor Wooten and all these, badass bass players. He wanted to take a guitar lesson. So I gave one last week, but it's not, I don't do a ton of them. So if you want one, you got to kind of get in the queue, and we can do it. So that's the deal with that. 25 Summers. I don't know what 25 Summers is, Azure. Woo. I tell you what, I am waking up. Groupie bus tour almost got me fired. It was innocent, I swear. Yeah, I can get you fired in the music business. Are you doing 30 minutes or 60 minutes? How long does it take to learn guitar well enough to play professionally? Okay, that's kind of a good string of questions. If I'm going to teach a lesson, it's got to be an hour, because 30 minutes, man. First of all, if I'm doing a first lesson with somebody, I need to talk to you. I need to know. Show me what you know. Tell me what you know. And you might know more than me. You might be a better player than me. But I guarantee you, either way, we'll learn something from each other. But also, there's going to be things that I know that maybe you don't know, and vice versa. How long does it take to become a professional guitar player? It's like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? Ernie Ball guitar solo. Oh, the golden chalice. The golden apparatus. Woo! Have you been smoozing the Florida scene at all? I'll be there in December through January. You're coming down for that long? I have not even been to one club here and heard one live band. I'm just trying to help out by giving the man stuff to talk about. I'm still curious. Have you ever seen a musician get a case of the yips? What is the yips? And totally forget how to play their instrument. Man, real guitar tips are great in Alaska. I bet you if you get a good little scene going in Alaska, man, you've got a captive audience up there. And man, I know if I was up there, seeing some live music, especially if I was a young man, but play Heaven's on Fire by Kiss for me, bro. I don't know that. Guitar matches the glasses, bro. I don't know that Kiss song. I don't sit around and play songs and do all that. We gotta. Whoa! The Ernie Ball just took a dive, bro, but it got caught by a cable, by a coily Uh, do I even, man, I am like not even prepared to play. I need a pick, and I need to change the patch there. Woo, that one's swimming. We've got this tin of picks. Let's see, what do we got in here, man? Now these are my tour picks from when I was out with Colt Ford. If you could see that. badbrad 420. These were the last batch that I did. I had a bunch of different ones. This is the pick. I produced an album that was called Midnight Glow. It's Eric Blue's album. And my wife made these picks for me. I say Midnight Glow. badbrad, okay? Now, God, man, we could go through this. badbrad, here's some picks I had. Here is a poker chip a fan made me on the road that has my guitar, my red Strat, and it's kind of cool. It's like a keychain. And let's see, what else we got? I can't show this one. It's got my phone number on it. I used to have these picks when people would say, I'd like to have you play my event. Do you have a card? And I just pull out a pick out of my pocket. Here's the Jolly Roger edition. Here is my badbrad Into the Ether. I did a metal album when I got off the road of my, you've got Cece's got Tom Bukovac. Well, you got me beat, Cece. I don't have anything like that in here. All I got is my pick. Now, I've got a Van Halen pick somewhere that was supposedly belonged to Eddie, but I don't have that here. I have to dig through this collection. But yeah, man. We've got a good crowd in here. I'm just having fun looking at guitar picks, bro. That's all I'm doing. But let's see what this glorious tone machine, if you can even see this. Woo, it's not in tune, bro. That's all I got, man. That's all I got. Woo! 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 That's all I got. That's all I got, bro. It's a cool axe, man. It's set up with nines. I have a couple Lonnie Mac picks. All right. That's amazing. Titans 17, Bears 10. Woo, they're coming back. What's your worst mess up playing live? The worst time I ever had live was the last time I played the CMA Fest. And it wasn't my mistake, but I grabbed cables. CMA Fest is what we call a throw and go, where there's not really a sound check. It's what you call a line check. So it's like bands are playing boom, 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 boom. And we're on the riverfront. And we go to play this gig. And I had my pedal board. And then it was like, I don't know, whatever amps behind me. I said, I'll use this one. I'll use that one. They roll out these amps that you've never used. So you don't know if the amps work. Tim, no. No. Unless the money is crazy. Maybe, hey, Tim, maybe we'll get a YouTube band and you blow your channel up, I blow my channel up, and we'll grab a bass player and a singer and we'll call us the Dude Tubes, and we'll destroy the world with our YouTube music. I gotta make that bank, man. I'm not gonna be a sideman. Drag queen hosted set changes. Okay. I've played a gig. I played a gig in Nashville. That was between sets. There was a drag queen. Me and Lonnie Mack at same birthday. Wow, CC, that is amazing. You had made a reference to your love of funk rhythm guitar the other day. Chick now I saw Vernon Reid with Living Color 80 tunes like Funny Vibe, a mashup of funk and rock. Man, I still think that is a deadly combination. Funk and rock. There are a few groups that capture that. That song, Lips and Hips. What was that? What was that band? I think they were a Swedish band. That song is kind of funky. What's the most you ever made on one gig? That would really have to be, well, one gig. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I had a double one day where I think I made, $1,000, and that was good. But I didn't have any crazy where, here's one gig. It's like, man, if you're getting hired by a group to play a tour or whatever, it's the same pay whether you're playing 500 seats or 10,000 seats or 40,000 seats. You're getting paid the same every show. So it's not like I could go, oh, well, all of a sudden, and we played right down the street at the Jacksonville, wherever the Jaguars play. We played on that stadium. And I made the exact same money that I made every night. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm in this stadium and now I can buy a Ferrari. It's just the same money, man. And that's why I don't have really any desire. If I play great, the money follows. It can, but does everybody in a rock band have to watch Spinal Tap? It better be obligatory. Yes, it better be. Lonnie had some great stories. The one about SRV were the best. I'm sure he did. Spinal Tap. I did a video this morning about, it's called Grunge Invades. I'm not going to give it away. But I got a great video I shot this morning and remembering something that I witnessed. And did you make enough money to retire playing music? No, that's why I'm here right now. I'm literally on YouTube, just treading water, trying to keep the bills paid. And that is why I'm on here working so hard. And I don't plan on ever retiring. I have to do something creative every day just to keep me out of trouble. I'm one of those people that idle time it's never good for me. I have to keep busy. I have to get up, hit the ground running with a purpose, whether it's the guitar or writing songs or, hey, schmooze with the audience, Adam. That is the key, right? You got to have people like you. You got to be likable. It's hard when you're focused on your instrument to relate to an audience, but I think it's important to have one foot in the real world and one foot in the music world to be able to relate to everybody, because the audience is usually not musicians. You ever thought about producing? I have produced and I will produce, and I love to produce, So if somebody presents me and needs something done, and maybe I find a young artist down here, um, you know, I'll produce. If one of my friends from Nashville goes, "Hey man, I want you to write some songs for me and produce, a new album or whatever," I'll do it. I'd have done it for free. My channel didn't get any views. You're doing awesome. Thank you. Here's why. It's for me. I'm going into this music thing for the music. I don't expect to get rich. Ask everyone for the first name and where they are from. Adam, that's a great post. That's a great post. For me, YouTube, and I've had this channel for 14 years. And I never really, I was too busy playing and doing, living life and living La Vida Loca and all that stuff to grind on it like I'm doing. Thank you, CC. Thank you. Beyond belief, we're here together now, brother. We're sharing the brotherhood of music. I've had this channel for so long, and I never really broke it down and started, Thank you, Tim, and I'm glad to see you doing well as well. Me and you, Tim, we might be on the road together, brother. How about my love is rotten to the core? I'd rather strut around like Diamond Dave, right now, and then play Van Halen riffs and get demonetized. So. Right? You got to suck in your cheeks. You young cats out there, and you got a photo shoot the next day, and you drank 12 beers the night before your photo shoot. You suck gut. We'd say suck gut, and everybody. And all of a sudden you look hungry. You want to look hungry. That's the one thing, man. And you and Diamond Dave could compare wigs. We could share wigs, bro. Jerry, thank you. Spread the word about this channel. I want to get a pulpit in here one day. And on a Sunday, I'm just going to preach. I'm going to preach to you guys because, man, this is keeping me going right now. I don't want to go play bars in Florida right now. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know, Nashville, I know where to sneak around and go through the back alley and load in. Thank you so much, Blair. That is amazing. I really do believe that you guys are spreading the word. The reason why, do you think you can go toe-to-toe with EVH in a guitar battle? Well, I would never want to do that. But if I had to be on stage, in sort of a jam situation, with anybody, I'd feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I wouldn't want to play Running with the Devil with Van Halen. That's a fool's game. But, if it was some funk jam or one of those, everybody playing freeway jam and that kind of stuff, I can do me. I can play, my style and the way I play. And there's some things that I, play and learned that are different than what Eddie Van Halen, his perspective and his style of playing. So, man, all you can do is be the best you that you can be. And if you do that, people will like it. Play from your heart. I've talked about battling on my channel and having to, compete. And if you're playing against a shredder and he's playing a million notes, the best way to compete with that is to play one note. And thank you, Beyond. That is way too kind. I don't profess to be, at this point, I'm not in competition with anybody. And man, I knew kids when I was a little kid that, when I was like 17, I knew 13-year-olds that were back then that were, better than Van Halen. But they didn't write the songs. They didn't create the band. They didn't do what it's a very hard thing. I'm trying to imagine EVH in a Grateful Dead style jam. Yeah, it wouldn't be. I mean, dude, I used to play hair metal, so we could do a rocked up version of, play that funky music or something like that. We could do a superstition. That would be a cool. I've heard bootlegs of Van Halen, playing Superstition back in the day. So that would be something we could have played together. Brad plugged into my amps, he would sound like Brad. It's absolutely true, man. You really should strive to sound like you. I have known players in the past that sounded, no matter what they played through, they would sound. But you also, the rig should affect. You should be able to sound different through each rig because every rig has different nuances. So dynamics, all that. Best advice I ever got was from Jordy Walker. He told me, play what you want to hear. Yeah, just play what you want to hear. And if you are battling with somebody or playing in a jam, listen to the other guy. Learn from what he's playing. And then make your statement. That's great advice to combat a shredder with one emotional note. Yeah, and on the other hand, if you're playing with a blues guy that's got tons of emotion and stuff like that, start like he's doing, but then build and add more melodic content. But you don't have to abandon the emotion that you start off matching his intensity. And you could maybe, people with discerning ears will say, man, you did kind of what he did, but you kind of took it to another level. So, wow. Adam saw Sly and the Family Stone in the early 70s. Wow. Slow Dive. Blair, I'm not familiar with Slow Dive. I was talking about Dirty Honey yesterday, and man, I was digging their new single, man. I think those guys are good. Singer's good. That's you got a good singer, man. I think Dirty Honey is the best one I've heard yet. Their singer sings better than the guy in the Struts. The guy in the Struts is a great performer, man. Great performer. But the band, I like the band, Dirty Honey, their band right now. Their guitar player is good. Okay, Shoegaze Rejuvenated. All right, well, I'll have to check them out, Blair. I'll have to check them out. Remind me. Have you ever got ripped off on a gig? Well, yeah, I've gotten ripped off, man. I've played gigs where I've got to, try and track the money down the next day, and been, there's times where you're told you're going to get paid this much, and then they hand you an envelope and you get home and open the envelope up and it's less money. And you can handle that two different ways. You could look at your calendar and go, well, I've got 6 more gigs with this guy this month, and I'm going to give him a chance to finish these dates up and see if he makes it right down the line. Maybe he had a tough night last night. Maybe the club owner shorted him. And I will hold off on going off. But on the other hand, if you've just got a guy that's just refusing to pay, that's when you light him up. Best advice I got was practice with clean tones. Yeah, that's a good practice. Practice with a clean tone, so you hear every mistake. But you stylistically, different tones will make you play different ways. We're paying $300, but you drank $400 in beer. So early on in my time in Nashville, I got to play the Exit Inn, which is a famous venue. It's one of the iconic venues in Nashville. And I was playing with some younger guys that were pretty popular with the Vanderbilt crowd. I was a little bit older. I just left LA and I joined this, rock band, and they were all looked like college kids. And I was this kind of just spit out of the Sunset Strip dude, but they needed a lead guitar player. And we played to a packed house of Vanderbilt, kids, college kids, at the exit in. And at the end of the night, I was like, man, we're going to make some money. This is awesome. And at the end of the night, it was like, okay, here's what you made, but you owe the sound guy this much money. And man, I think we ended up leaving out of there with like 33 bucks each. It was absolutely, it was a robbery, man. It was a complete robbery. Somebody asked where I rate SRV. Incredible guitarist. What more? Where can you rank him? I mean, you're not going to listen to him for his fusion playing. You're going to remember seeing you play Atlantis in 2000, first time seeing Captain Crunch. There's my friend Alicia Fair is here. Everybody say hi to Alicia. Her husband is the guy I started my career in Nashville with, and ended my career in Nashville with. Looking behind, most times you ask a question like that, they really want to tell you that it's not a contest you can rank. Yeah, you can't rank SRV. Did you spend a lot of time at the Rainbow? Run-in stories there. Yeah, I spent a lot of time at the Rainbow. And the first night I was there, I've told this story, I saw Yngwie Malmsteen. He was hammered. He walked right by me. I'd been listening to his first album on the way out to LA on cassette. And man, I used to see Lemmy and Entwistle all the time. John Entwistle from The Who, Lemmy from Motorhead. One night I was hanging with these two Swedish girls. I was dating this one Swedish girl. The other was this blonde, Swedish blonde. And Lemmy liked the blonde and I was dating the brunette. And it was just the four of us sitting at a table, like hanging, at the Rainbow. And man, there's pictures of that somewhere, and they lost the pictures. So, yeah, I got plenty of stories from the Rainbow. You get your $5. I was talking about it in the interview today with Billy McCarthy. The Rainbow had a $5 cover charge. And with that $5 cover charge, you got a thing that allowed you 2 drinks, and they would bring in the card, and they tear it in half, or they'd give you 2 tickets, 1 for each drink. And we were always broke. So the $5 would usually pretty much wipe, and I'd keep a 5, and I'd keep 2 1s. So I give them $5, and then the $2 on, I give them the ticket, and then $2 on top, and I'd say 2 Long Island iced teas, because I knew I couldn't afford to buy another drink after that. So I would have these 2, be double fisted with Long Island iced teas and hanging out at the Rainbow. That was what I used to do. Woo! All right, we got 62 people in here. Let's get those thumbs up. We're talking LA, we're talking Nashville, we're talking the music business. I have learned from every musician I ever heard, good or bad. I respect them all. That's a great attitude. You ever play in Canada or Mexico? Yes, I played in Cancun, Mexico. And I played in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico at Van Halen's club. And what was the other one? Canada. I played all over Canada, opening for Eric Church in January of, I don't know, I had the tour book around here somewhere, but I don't remember what year. They are stout. If you haven't already, you should do a video on your Rainbow stories. I think I have done a little bit on that, but yeah, I could do, man. I got 30 years of Nashville and another, 6 or 7 years of LA. Cece says she played all over Canada the hard way. I bet you did, Cece, but that's why we love you. We're family here now. We're having a good time. BB Live. Woo! Jimmy, welcome. How you doing, brother? We're glad to have you here. We're having a good time. I just woke up a little while ago. I'm having an Altoid for breakfast. And we're having a little fun here. Drinking a little Red Bull, reading about Cuba. What was your favorite Sunset Strip venue to see bands? Um, yeah, I'll talk about. So somebody asked me of my favorite venue in LA. Someone asked about studio experience. I've talked about in some of my videos. Look, this is an ongoing thing, and I talk about all those things on this channel, and it will continue to be. I can get really in depth, and I've got lots of club lingerie. Now wait a minute. I think club lingerie. I can't remember. I know the coconut, no, club lingerie. And also, remember Sosh? There was a club in the valley called Sosh, and it had a picture of the waitress with this zebra pants, spandex pants, right? Sosh, remember that place? That was almost like a rock, like slash dance club kind of thing. And Club Lingerie, okay, Club Lingerie was further down Sunset in the other direction. Played there with Bob Birch on bass of Elton John. Awesome. Where's gig was at a swingers club. Sosh, yeah, remember that place? I think I played Sosh once. And my buddy John Billings played there a bunch of times. I remember one night, I think Neil Sean was out there. I remember Tony Thompson coming in there, a drummer from the Power Station in Chic. That was a cool little spot out in the valley. It was kind of near the Baked Potato. So yeah, I'm gonna keep talking about all of these things on my channel and keep spreading the word and talking about music and all that. That's what we do here. But it's also a life message about continuing and moving forward in your life and finding true meaning in life. This is deeper than old stories. Just let me improvise. What is perspective on musicians and drug use? On one hand, I don't recommend anybody drink or anything before they play. And I certainly, but I can't, I can't lie and say that I never took a drink because, towards the end of my road days, man, I would have 2 beers, ice cold beers on my amp rack and a giant cup, a red Solo cup filled with whiskey. And that's where I was towards the end. But I don't drink anymore, and I don't recommend people do it. But everybody has their own thing. The teaser, yeah, Len Fagan, the owner let me rent the whole place after my birthday for $200. Wow, that is amazing. Wow, Jimmy, that is amazing. We once played a gig at the Starlight outside of Nashville. Yeah, the Starlight. Wasn't that on like Dickerson Road or something like that? Tell me about that, because I never played that place, and I drove by it a few times. It's not there anymore. Yeah, Jim Morrison made a career of drinking before gigs and being unpredictable, and that was part of his shtick. But man, he's not here anymore. So, and he made a very quick descent into, from being the best looking guy on the scene to not being. Someone said, every time I went to the Rainbow, Ron Jeremy was there every time. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. Lemmy was there seemingly almost every time I was there. And now it doesn't feel the same without thinking Lemmy's going to be there, Every time you'd see him and you weren't surprised by it, but you were just so glad to see him, still in his element. That was his place. And, we all in life, we just want to find our place. We just want to have a place that feels like home. And for him, the Rainbow was that place. Woo! Woo! Jeremy liked the chili beans. I don't know what that means. Yes, it was a popular place for older people. Played 70s through 80s rock. Okay. Yeah, the Starlight. Yeah, it seemed like one of those places. And I talked to a buddy of mine that played there. Your wig looks good, so you should run for Tampa Mayor. Jimmy, you just nailed it. That's going to be my next gig. I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out with a slick suit and my Elvis shades, and I'm going to run for Tampa Mayor. Woo! Woo! Vote for me. Woo! I'm a huge Twisted Sister fan. Astro5 says, were you surprised how fast they fell off? It doesn't surprise me when a band hits that hard and can't match that level. What that would be my campaign slogan. It's just woo. Look, man, the way society is now, I think that I could run a campaign and just put my name and woo as my slogan for mayor, Bad Brad, woo, and then you know, and every time I go to a debate and people would ask me a question, I would just put on my shades and I'd go, woo, woo, and you know what? I think I might even win. I might even win. I think people would vote for that. That just, when it's all said and done, it's all meaningless. But it's just one of those things. I don't know. It's like everybody's talking at me. I don't hear a word they're saying. I forget about vote. Yeah, BB. Yeah, exactly. What can you do? You can hydrate with delicious Waterloo. Yeah, Sunset Strip. It feels like someone said Sunset Strip has a clean corporate vibe now. He tricked me into it, but I'm just talking about me running, not anybody else, and not commenting on anybody or anything. You can interpret that talk any way you like. The Sunset Strip now feels like a museum. It feels like a place that doesn't have the energy of youth anymore. And that is a sad thing. People are doing different things now, maybe not putting together bands. Maybe young guys are just doing TikTok dances in their room, but they're not marching up and down the strip with a handful of flyers. That's for gosh darn sure. So yeah, do you ever have to take a pee? Adam, yes, I do, but not every hour. And obviously, there's a timer on here when you start this. When you start this live, it says you're going to go live at this time, and I go right at the 3-minute mark. I go around the corner and I take a pee, and then I'm good. I'm entertaining right now. I'm talking to you, and I don't need to go pee right now. It's only been an hour. It's not like it's I got to go every 30 minutes. If I had to go every 30 minutes, that would be you might need to call somebody. You know what I'm saying? Woo! What happens if nature calls? Oh man, if nature calls, like I said, you got to go. So if somebody wants to hear a Roxy story. Man, I just really liked the Roxy. That felt like. Look, I'll tell you why. Yeah, sounds like you have a healthy prostate. I hope so. I certainly hope so. The thing about the Roxy, in one of my favorite albums, and this is not a heavy metal album. This is not the typical rocker, dude album. But man, I really like George Benson, Weekend in LA. And that is recorded live at the Roxy on the Sunset Strip. And that is a really cool album. And, so for me, playing the Roxy wasn't just, being on top of the Sunset Strip, it was like, man, this is where George Benson recorded his live album. That's what, excited me about it, and the fact of the location. The other thing that was really excited me was playing the Whiskey a Go Go, because I knew, I knew that Jimi Hendrix had impaled his Stratocaster into the ceiling of the Whiskey after a gig and just let it, left it screeching. And that I read that Frank Zappa, talking about that, and the Doors playing the Whiskey and all that. So those were my two favorite Sunset Strip venues, and so we had comics warming up before we played the Roxy. I remember Elaine Bougier. Yeah, that sounds familiar, Jimmy. If you were kind of there in the early '80s, or isn't the whiskey scene like super high? I don't know if it was super high then, or it may have been, I don't know. But I like there was a story I read about Frank Zappa seeing Jimmy there, and it may have had a lower ceiling at the time. I mean, who knows? Someone said, ever did no-nos with anyone famous? This is YouTube, bro. I don't want to get demonetized, man. Man, I don't need to get demonetized, bro. Did you guys ever have a guy, like, there would be like one guy on the bus, and he's like, hey, man, and he'd always talk like this, and he'd say, hey, dude. You can't look. It would be more shocking that you would tell a story like that about someone in law enforcement or government or politics or any of those things. Of course, musicians partake. Thank you, Big D. Thank you. What happens at the Whiskey? So Iggy do a line at a jam when he was auditioning for our band. It was a 1/2 inch thick and 2.5 feet long. He's a maniac. I don't doubt that. And that guy was crazy. He was all about the energy. Listen to Henry Rollins tell the story of trying to compete with Iggy Pop. Opening for Iggy Pop and thinking he was going to bring more energy than Iggy. And then Iggy immediately comes out and just completely, within seconds, beats Henry Rollins at his own game. Just comes out and with more energy and more craziness and just more rock and roll attitude. He made the mistake of trying to compete with a man at his own game. So yeah, that is a fascinating story. Did you hear Kid Rock's story about getting the chance to meet Tom Petty and Tom just want to use him to get herb? I have not heard that. Rollins versus Iggy. That is like a marvel. Yeah, that is a great story if you guys see that. We need names, Brad. Oh, we need names. I don't know. Hey, what's the story with that light flashing guitar behind you? Well, the story with that is it's just one of those, kind of poster thing, and I think my wife bought it at Home Goods or something like that. And you just put, like 2 or 3 AA batteries in it, and it's just, I'm not an expert at building sets or anything. This is not a professionally done set. I'm not using a camera. I'm using my iPhone. And so, this is as real and lo-fi as it is. I don't want to tell you what I saw Geek do with an air compressor hose on stage. Jimmy, yeah, it's a cool thing though. My wife got me that, and I think it adds a little bit of lighting behind. It is a good wife. I'm very lucky. I'm good wife, good life, and low strife. right? That's the way life should be. All right, we're at 64 minutes on an impromptu. We got 53 people in here, 51 likes. Let's get a couple more likes if we can. We got people coming on in here. I'll just keep going and talking. You should get a green screen. I think there's easy ways to do all that, but I don't, it's like Zoom. I do love Thin Lizzy, Dan asks. I don't really see the reason in doing a green screen. Then you're going to realize, well, he's manipulating the background and maybe he's editing his stories. I do very little edits on my videos these days. If there's a bump or a loud noise or something, I try to trim that out. But yeah, I don't like the green screen thing. What did you like better, musically, Nashville or LA? Musically, I liked Nashville better. I got to play with better players, and I got to play more challenging music in Nashville. So on that realm alone, I gained more musically by playing in Nashville because I would actually got to use. She has much to say to Jim, and she'll say it quick. He overdid it. Yeah, that's some valuable information about Jim Morrison. Yeah, he just overdid it. He overdid it. Can you name your top 3 favorite bands of all time? Okay, top 3 favorite bands of all time. I got to put, as far bands go, and we're talking bands, and I assume we're talking, rock. I got to put Van Halen at the top. And for me, it's just the first, was that, 5 or 6 albums with David Lee Roth. I would put that, that would be my top band. And he's saying 3. So what would I pick for number 2? Man, okay, I'm going to say Jimi Hendrix Experience, because that is technically a band. Now, I think of Jimi Hendrix as a solo artist, even though technically the Jimi Hendrix Experience is a band. So I would put them as number 2. Monster guitar player, great songwriter, killer band. When they were firing, when Mitch Mitchell was at the start of his career, man, his drumming was just awesome. And then number 3, just to have something a little bit different. Pedro, what's happening, brother? I'm going to go Rolling Stones, because I'm more of a Rolling Stones guy than say the Beatles. Yeah. Who has the best right hand in rock? Dave Davies, Pete Townsend. Woo! I'm going to go Malcolm Young. When it comes to strings, is it the brand or whatever is on sale? I got to have Ernie Balls or Diodario. I can't narrow it to 3, my 5, or what did somebody say? Grateful Dead, Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Eagles. That's a solid lineup. I like all of those bands. Woo! Let's get those thumbs up. Are you a Billy Idol fan? Yes. Rebel Yell album. Awesome. Top to bottom. And love Steve Stevens. James Hetfield's he's got a whole different kind of right hand. That heavy, downbeat thrash, kind of thing. Malcolm Young. Ernie Ball, number 9. Yeah, Ernie Balls are great. Diodarios. Those are the top 2 electric guitar strings. AC/DC, indeed. Now, my dad would probably pick AC/DC as his favorite band. He loves AC/DC, and we did get to see the last tour with Malcolm and Angus and Brian Johnson, that Black Train or whatever that was. Optima 24 karat gold strings. Well, Lord, I hope that, sir, you're playing some sophisticated music with those gold strings. I hope that you're playing something sophisticated. Guns N' Roses or AC/DC? AC/DC with Bon Scott. Next. Roy Clark had a pretty good right hand. Oh, yeah. He could pick, and he could grin, too. He could actually grin. Yeah, Big D. Dirty Honey does have a little bit of Black Crowes, but I think the guitar player in Dirty Honey is actually a better guitar player. Optimists have their own sonic qualities. Optimas, okay. A finger pick and never change strings. Wow. Well, man, I wish I could get away with that. But if I have to play gigs, I go through a pack every show, every show. I got to put new strings on or otherwise they'll break. So, wow, $25 a set. That's more expensive than bass strings, right? How much are bass strings now? Do you listen to Eddie Trunk? I do listen to Eddie Trunk, and I used to watch that metal show when I was on the road. We watched that every time it came on, man. We'd be sitting on the bus, and it's after the show, and we turn on the T. I put on VH1 and the metal, dude, metal. And me and like the 2 or 3 metalheads on the bus would commandeer the television, and we would be one of the 2 or 3 people that would be watching it at 2 in the morning. So yeah, I really like Eddie Trunk. Just boil your strings. Yeah, if you're a bass player, you can definitely do that. Bass strings for Diodario around 20 a set. Well, see, those gold strings, man, I couldn't afford to use that. Just give me some nickel strings. Yeah, leave the politics out of here, y'all. We don't have time for that nonsense. We don't have time for it, man. I don't want to mess with that stuff. I don't want to fool with politics. I just want to talk about music, man, and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So somebody just said, yeah, I got tons of verb on that thing. This thing is wet. Somebody wants some Hendrix. Right? I can't look, man. You can't play like just jam Hendrix songs and play this stuff, or you will get demonetized. So right? How much get away with charging for tickets? Double. Someone said first hair metal song you learned to play. Man, I didn't play I was more of a, classic rock, hard rock guy. So and then here's the thing. By the time I got on the Strip, I had to write riffs and I had to play, original hair metal style music. So I didn't learn to play Rat, and I didn't learn to play just a handful of easy Van Halen songs was all I ever really learned. I never learned Eruption. I know bits and pieces of it. I was just trying to carve out my own thing using the stuff that I knew how to do, So get this one. So we're just having a good time, taking it easy. What guitarist influenced you the most? I'd say Hendrix. Hendrix influenced me the most. How long were you in LA? I was in, where is that? I was in LA from about 86 to 94. I left in 94. Johnny Winters. I love Johnny Winters. It was for me, City Drums. It was for me at the time. But you know what? I don't know if it gave me some knowledge that could use throughout my career. So that's I probably would have benefited more if I had gotten right on the strip and played. But man, that's such a hard thing. Instant hangnail. Instant hangnail right there. From I needed to keep my nails trim. This guitar is in standard tuning, I believe. Were you ever into like tuning to open G? Or I've done the Keith Richards. But the way that you can, kind of do Keith without having to tune that low string is play your C right here. The only difference is you don't have your E string tuned to D to get that Keith tuning. I did a whole video called Keith 101, which is one of the videos that did pretty well for me early on. I think it got like, I don't forget how many, maybe 10,000. Do you ever teach guitar? I do, and I will. If you want Zoom lessons, hit me up in the description to my channel, my email. You must have been a member of LA Guns at some point. I have the right hair now for LA Guns. But back in the 80s, I had Kip Winger hair, so I didn't have the Keith Richards thing. Now I could have been in LA Guns now, but that was me back in the day. So I had the perm, the Kip Winger kind of thing, and the 5 o'clock shadow, and the taco salad on the chest. So yeah. That was my image back then. I didn't start doing the Jeff Beck look until much later in life. It seems Poison weren't respected from other bands back in the day on the Strip. There was a lot of, everybody had opinions about everything, and yeah, you could say that. I mean, even Guns N' Roses, they were better shredder guitar players on the Strip than Slash. We used to kind of listen to Slash, and while it was the perfect playing for that music and that album, we didn't think he was the most technically proficient guitar player in the world. He just was like a kind of a Joe Perry style player. So, everybody had opinions about that stuff. Man, I just like playing guitar. Thank you guys for being here with me. Let's get those thumbs up. Actually, we've got 64 likes and 53 people. What's going on in here? Purge, we're just having a good time. Keith does sound like Chuck Berry. It's really easy to slip into MI mode. Yes, it is. Here's the thing. If you're playing, and Jimmy, I know I've talked to, He plays all kinds of different music, and it's like guys that play like Nashville session players. I know Brent Mason can kind of he does like some jazzy type stuff, but most of those guys are really into the kind of the cage style playing and hitting, in their solo, hitting those chord tones, hitting those stuff in their solos and stuff like that, and playing diatonically, and us, old fusion guys, man, we'll play whatever. But that doesn't really always work in the context of a Nashville, style session. You can't be, playing bebop licks. Bad Brad, another awesome show. Big P, thank you. Did you ever get into the jazz guitarist Lenny Breau? Yeah, I've talked about Lenny Breau in my channel, and I used to see his mail on my channel at my apartment in LA. So yeah, you can't lose with blues roots. Absolutely, you got to be able to play blues roots. Yeah, it was a good interview. Rick Beato has made some recent videos about pop music getting worse. Do you think pop music has been going down here? Curious to hear your take. I don't listen to pop music, but I can tell you that pop music is not as good as the pop music back in the day. And the reason being is it is now less diverse, both, racially, to some degree, and musically. Pop music used to stand for popular. So you would have stuff that would cross over. You would have, and even back in the day, you would have Rod Stewart with Maggie May. That would cross over to the country charts. And if we're getting to Frank Marino, he is a great guitar player, Big P. That's all I know about Frank. Popular music used to be everything on there. You could listen to Casey Kasem's Top 100 and you'd hear everything from, hard rock to country to whatever. It just was the most popular songs in the country. So now it sounds like pop is just all laptop music. Was that Hippo Mixolydian Plupsy? Woo! Mixolydian. There's my Mixolydian lick for the day. Pop music's gone downhill. Rick Jarringer playing with Johnny Winter. Yeah, that's a good lineup, right? That's a good lineup. I grew up on CKLW, a Clear Channel station out of Windor, Ontario. Wow, I bet you heard some just like Nashville country went pop. Yeah, it's all, look, everything is kind of being homogenized and turned into one thing. And like I said, pop music back in the day, man, the sounds, Nashville records sounded different than Philadelphia records and Philly soul. And New York records, the New York rock records sounded different than the LA rock records. And every kind of place, then you got Muscle Shoals that had their own sound. And you got Memphis that had its own sound. And those different studios would produce, yes, I did, Beyond Belief. Those different studios would produce different sounding stuff. And then you throw in different players and different artists and different singers. And all of those things, the best of it, would diverge and show their talents on the popular charts. And the ones that broke through on all accounts would end up at the top of the pop charts. And so music was way more diverse in where it came from, who was playing it, who was singing it, the sound of it. It would all be mastered so that it would all, Motown. And then Minneapolis later, you know, Minneapolis had its thing. Ever played Manhattan by Eric Johnson? No, I haven't. Um, it's something like that, right? Wasn't Stevie's bass player in Johnny Winter Live? Yes, he was. Tommy Shannon. Tommy Shannon is, yeah, a big part of that blues, Texas blues scene. So, yeah, man, you know, music is just, it's in a weird place right now. Cliffs of Dover. I don't know it. Big pentatonic players don't normally even realize they're playing diatonic with their bends. The bends and unbends are those extra two notes in the blue note from blues scale. One of my favorite bass players died. Herbie Flowers did the double bass line for Walk on the Wild Side. Wow, that's a cool bass line, man. That is a super cool sounding. That track, you know, that's Lou Reed, you know, really hit on something on that track, man. He could, to me, he could have done a whole album that sounded like that. And maybe that's what that record sounds like. And she never lost her head, even when she was Walk on the Wild Side. You know, that was a cool track, man. My dad was a successful gambler and always gave me cash for concerts. Well, I'm glad he was a successful gambler, because most gamblers are not. But if you're in the music business, you are gambling. You are gambling with your life. So, yeah, that's cool, Adam. That's very cool. There you go. Somebody said Little Wing. Adam, okay, that's interesting. The chick that did the backing vocals with me once, not a, okay. I came of age when shredders ruled the covers of guitar player. I got to see B.B. King live, and he could do more than one gliss on Lucille than 1,000 shredders. Right? Rick Jarringer played rhythm guitar. I missed that one. I'm just having some fun with you guys. I want to thank everybody for hanging with me today. I think I'm going to duck out and check on the wife. They're out having a good time. What's your favorite guitar you ever played? You can't pick your favorite. This is the one I practice on, though. I've talked about it. This is a tough, this guitar you have to really work. And that's why you hear me now, and you'll hear me, I'll miss a note. And I'll make a mistake, because this thing is not easy to play, but I love it. Everyone here, have a great Sunday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the Breakfast Club, where every morning I debut a brand new video. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I might go watch a little football. The Ernie Ball is sweet. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I love you guys. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, everybody. Jimmy Hunter, thank you for joining us. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.